and welcome to Liza's Painting Parties. I'm Liza and we are going to be painting a really great painting this week from a photo as an inspiration. The photo is one that I got online. I think it was from one of the Facebook groups, View from My Window. And really great site to have some, if you ever want to get some inspiration of people who post from all over the world. And this one was a shot of Mount Rainier in Washington, and this was the one that everyone voted for this week. So we are going to paint our version of this photo. So as Nicole had mentioned, one of our paint partiers and friend of mine, it's very like Bob Ross vibe to it. So we're gonna have lots of fun with this one. I suggest if you're gonna paint along with me, I'm gonna go through the items that I have here in terms of supplies, but I would also suggest you either grab a screenshot of this picture, or you can always grab this from the winning post that I posted yesterday on the Paint Party site. And you can just have that available as like a reference as we go through this this process, because you might end up, I might go a little bit too fast or a bit too slow for you, so then you can just go through and you can reference this as you go. So really pretty. I'm really excited to do this. I have some ideas of how I want to recreate this. And again, when you're going from a photo, it's our inspiration. So I never want to make it look like exactly like the photo. I do want to have my own painter spin onto things. So I do encourage you to do that as well. So if you want to enhance some of the colors and make things brighter or change different elements, do so. That's your prerogative. If you just like the photo, then you get the photo, right? And then you post that up. But when you're painting, we want to have some more of a spirit involved behind it, right? So when we start to paint this, I'll walk you through how I would approach it. So anyone who's new to the Paint Parties experience, what I do is I offer 3 options every week on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And everyone has the option to vote for their favorite, and then the one that has the most votes by the Tuesday following at noon, I'll announce the winner, and that's the one we paint on the Wednesday. So that's how this all rolls out. So if you go and you look, you're like, what are you painting next week? I have no idea until you guys all vote for it. And this is my first time painting this as well. So all of the videos are like that. The first time you see the painting is the first time I've done it. And I walk you through my approach of how I would approach it. And that's how my structure videos work. So if you're painting along or if you have some experience, feel free to make any comments or suggestions in the comments and let me know and let everyone else who's watching know any tips and tricks you might have. Feel free to do that as we go through. So I'm just going to put this down momentarily. I'm also quite happy because we had a time change on Sunday and now it's actually still sunny and bright outside, which makes me so happy. I was doing the paint parties before on a Saturday afternoon when I first started this about a year ago, and I missed that natural sunlight. So I'm super excited the sun's still out, at least for the first little bit of our painting party. So in terms of supplies, I always use acrylic paint. I am a big proponent of using things that are easily accessible, both cost-wise and just availability. So I get all of my supplies from the dollar store. And so the paints that I have, if you have the basic 3 primary colors, blue, yellow, and red, and if you have black and white, then you can pretty much paint anything that I have on the site. Of course, if you do have some pre-mixed colors and stuff, that works out well if you would prefer not to have to mix things on the spot. So I'll walk you through mixing the colors as I go, but you can also have it that way as well. Okay, so again, so that's my acrylic paint there. In terms of my canvas, I really like to use these canvas boards. I get them, actually the most recent ones, I got a bunch for my birthday. That was at the beginning of March. My husband got a bunch from Desserts, which is a an art store. I don't know if it's based in the States as well, but it's in Canada. And so they had a really good deal on it. There's like 5 for, I'm not sure how much, but it's cheaper than Amazon, so check it out. So yeah, so it's 11 by 14 is the size that I like to work with. Again, you can use whatever size you want. You can use whatever canvas you like. If you like it thicker, go for it. If you want to do a round canvas, whatever you want. I just like this for storage, and I find that the quality is still quite good. And then I have some water containers. I usually have 2. I have paper towel as well. So just make sure you have some of that. And then I have my very dirty, beautiful palette, which I like to just keep layers and layers of old paint, but I just clean it off every week a little bit. And then in terms of paintbrushes, again, I'm a little vague when I talk about paintbrushes. I ask you to have a large, a medium, and a fine. And really, it's just in relation to your canvas size, so that's why I don't say specifics. However, I did just receive new paintbrushes also for my birthday, and so I can give you the sizes now, which is helpful because my old paintbrushes, they were definitely not there and I had no idea. So I'm using a size 10 for like my big coverage brush. I'm using a size 4 for like my medium size brush. And then this brush is also a size 4, but it's called a cat's tongue brush. And so the tip of it kind of works, right now it doesn't look like it, but it works as a really nice fine point as well. So this can be my fine point brush. I also have some other fine point ones I got from Amazon a while ago. So I usually have like a fine point for the detail, a medium, and a large. So that's what we need in terms of supplies. Cool. So that's pretty much my spiel before we get started. It's almost 6 o'clock, so I'm going to wait until a few minutes after 6 just to make sure that anyone who wants to paint along live with me has the opportunity to get all their supplies and do so. And again, for anyone who might be joining now, we have, this is our inspiration photo that we're going to be recreating. I always find when I look at it on my screen, it never captures the colors as nice as the image. So again, I would suggest grab the screenshot from the post from yesterday where I announced the winning painting, and use that because the colors are so much more, they're still pretty like pastel-y, but they're more vibrant than I think what's actually showing through here. So feel free as you're joining on just to say hi, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm in Ontario. And it's actually still sunny because of our time change, and I'm so happy. Just gonna keep an eye there. Okay, perfect. And yeah, and we'll get started in a little bit. So that will be quite fun. And also, if you're watching this and you can't paint right now, but you really want to try this, all of my videos are up on my Painting Parties page on the Facebook page, and are also on my YouTube channel, Liza's Painting Parties. So you can watch them whenever you so desire, whenever the painting urge hits. If you're hearing some noise, I think maybe you might be. I don't know how my mic is capturing that, but I'm actually getting a furnace. My furnace had to be replaced. So luckily it's happening now and it's not so cold, thank goodness. So you might hear a little bit of that in the background. So my apologies for that. I did try to like balance that out. I found some like nature sounds, and that was an inspiration from Becky. Becky DeGroot has been a follower for a while, and she had mentioned that with some of my previous parties where I had them in the afternoon, you could hear like the birds chirping from the window and stuff. And I thought, since I can't have music playing, since there's a bunch of copyright laws and they will end up like muting my video if I play a song that I haven't paid for essentially. And there's so many weird rules about that, which is really frustrating. I figured they can't, like the bird sound should be okay. I'm hoping. So we'll see what happens if I get a weird violation for that. Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. So yes, you might see at the bottom that you can send me stars. So again, I do all these for free. If you want to send a tip to me, you can feel free to send me some stars. There's like some money that goes towards that way. Otherwise, you can always send me something through PayPal as well if you prefer to go that route too. Again, it's not needed, but it's always appreciated for my painting supplies and stuff. It's always fun. And if you want to have any painting parties and you want me to host anything for you and your friends or for work or whatever you like to do, I've done some for like some Girl Guide troops as well. So even for kids and whatnot, it's so much fun with kids. Definitely send me a message and we can talk about that too if that's something that you might be interested in. All right, so just past 6 right now, and we'll get started in just a little bit. Why don't we talk a little bit about how I would approach the painting and where we're going to start first. Okay, so whenever I start a new painting from a photo or from any kind of inspiration image, I first want to figure out where everything's going to be on my canvas. So as you can see, a big focal point is obviously this beautiful clouds in the sky, this brightness that really highlights the mountain, right? So I'm going to always start with whatever's furthest back. So the first thing I'm going to be painting when we start today is I'm going to paint this yellow, bright yellow sky here. And then I'm going to move in to start painting the darker behind the clouds. Okay, but it's still a pretty heavy cloud cover, so it's going to be a pretty distinct separation between the colors versus some other paintings we've done in the past where you'll have more of a blending technique happening. So that's how I'm going to approach it. I'm also noticing too how large the actual sky is going to be on my canvas. And I'm going to paint more than I would expect to, I suppose. So we're going to go lower and have that yellow zone a bit bigger than what the end result's going to be. And so when I look at this, so basically if I'm trying to mimic this, we're going to have like the water kind of in the background until about there or so, about like a quarter maybe of the way, a fifth of the way. And then we're going to have like your mountain range, you're going to have your yellow sky, and that goes until about like just over halfway up is where the yellow. So that big cloud cover is in this top, almost half of your picture is going to be this like heavy clouds going on. And again, that's just if you want to recreate to make it more similar to the photo, but you can always change it up. If you'd rather, you can change it and make it into a landscape view, or you know, kind of zoom in your picture a bit just to capture what you would prefer. But that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be trying to stay similar to this, but have a more painterly vibe for it. Hi, Doreen from North Bay. Fantastic. And Elizabeth from the Philippines. My goodness, I'm so glad you're joining. And it's morning there, eh? Oh my gosh. I love when there's all these different time zones joining in. It's so fun. Just gonna get my hair up because, yeah, it's way warmer than I thought it was going to be with the sun still coming in my window. I have put all my lights up like I normally have, so hopefully as the sunlight dissipates, you'll still be able to see everything. Just let me know in the comments if anything is weird. That'd be great, so then I can make sure I can address that, and please feel free to message as we go through. I'll keep an eye on that too, okay? I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer in just a moment. Just move my laptop over, and then we'll get started. Fantastic. Hopefully you have your, you have some water or something to drink as we go through this. With this kind of painting, I'm anticipating we'll probably be able to stay within the 2-hour mark to do this painting. And it just depends on your skill set as well. Like if you want to really get into getting some more detail on the clouds and whatnot. But I think we'll be able to accomplish this within a 2-hour frame. Some of our paintings take significantly longer. I think last week was one of them. I think it was almost 3 hours when we did our elephant. I don't know if you guys had seen that, but we did this one last week. So fun to do and so different than this vibe, eh? So pretty. So yeah, definitely check that out. There's the video is up still, and you can feel free to join and do that one whenever you so desire. All right. Oh, my iPad decided to count. There you go. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's move this camera down, shall we? Oh, amazing. Diane's joining from Graham, Washington, and she has a beautiful view of the mountain that we're painting. That's fantastic. I'm so happy. Well, I hope we can do it justice. And maybe you'll have some more things to add depending on what you want to see in there. That's so cool. All right, I'm going to move the camera now. I know you'll miss seeing my face, but, you know, you kind of want to see the canvas a touch more, just a little bit. All right, so, come on, let's try and get the top. There we go. All right, perfection. So you can see that, and you can see my canvas. Perfect. So we'll start with, like I said, I want to put in this bright yellow sky about just below half, or almost halfway, like so halfway is about here or so. So I'm going to go a little bit above the halfway mark, and I'm going to bring it down a nice chunk. We're going to have like a nice bright yellow happening with maybe have a bit of white blended in there too. So the yellow that I'm using again is, this is off from the dollar store, and I change depending on like what I have available. Right now the yellow I'm using is daffodil yellow. The thing when you buy dollar store paint, that's just whatever's there. Daffodil yellow can be very different than like, I don't even know another yellow color, like sunshine yellow or a different name. So those are different blends, and that's the biggest frustration I would say about getting things that are cheaper that you can't always get more of a consistent color. And also the consistency as well can be kind of funky. So if you're okay with working within a little bit of ambiguity, we can still get a really good painting out of it. You just have to be a little patient with what happens with the colors. Okay, so I'm going to use my big brush for some big coverage. This one, like I said, is a number 10, but again, just use whatever one feels the best. You're going to get nice big coverage out of it. On my palette, I'll show you how much paint I put for now. So I just put a glob of yellow and a glob of white. I try not to put too much because acrylic paint will dry very quickly, and we don't want it to dry, or else the consistency is not going to be that great. Okay, so I'm going to look more or less about where I want the furthest background of my picture to be, that nice yellow, and I'm going to just start putting it in. And I'm just going to put the paint right onto the canvas. Sometimes in the past I've done, when we do blending, I'll wet the canvas first. You can do that if you want. I do want this yellow to be very bright. I don't want it to be diluted or too thin with water, so I'm just going to go straight up with putting the paint right on here. Okay. There's no particular way to do it. It's just paint a nice bar of yellow. And it doesn't have to be perfect bar either, because we're going to have that big cloud cover come on top, but you do want it to go a little bit higher than where that cloud cover sits. Okay. I'm also painting the size of my canvas as I go, especially if you have an actual canvas versus a canvas board. Remember to do that. Everything just looks more consistent when you do that. Okay. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. And maybe I want it a little bit lighter, so I'm going to get my white and just put a glob on there. And I'm just going to put it right on top of my yellow and just blend it out a little bit, just to get it slightly lighter. By doing this too, I'm kind of blending it a little bit too, so I'm not just creating like a very just like a big bar of one yellow. Then it kind of gives it a little bit more dimension to it if I'm just putting white right on top of that yellow and blending it a bit. Just giving a couple different gradients to it. So I just have yellow like that. Okay. Awesome. All right. And then we're done with that for now, I would say. We're going to be adding all that, you know, different clouds and stuff, because there's some like little lines of cloud and kind of misty look to it afterwards. So we're not going to worry about that right now. We just want the background on there. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, the next step, I'm going to start working on that big cloud cover that's in the back. Oh, I should also mention too, when I'm putting this layer on, I'm using very thin layer of paint. So it's not going to take me very long. It's not going to take a very long time to dry. So if you use thin coats, that will help in this process too. Okay. Okay, so now if we look at this cloud, this big cloud cover, we notice that we don't look at the actual like clouds, but in the background, that's the color we want. So we want to get this kind of like purplish, pink kind of, it's more purplish really, purplish kind of color going to have a nice backdrop. So when we put in all this cloud, it will pop really nicely. So let's get a nice purple color. So if you already have a pre-mixed purple and you like the way it looks, totally go for it. I'm just gonna clean off the paint on my brush. Okay. So I don't like to leave my paint in water as I'm painting. So I just try to clean off the paint from it and just dab it off, and I'll still wash them at the end of the session, but I just like to do that as we go. Okay, just as another tip, if you so desire. All right, if you're going to mix some purple like I am going to do, you want to get your red and you want to get your blue, and you're going to put some paint on your palette, and then I'll show you about how much I'm putting on. You're going to need like a good amount, and it really just depends on, again, the shades of color that you have. So for right now, I'm using Copenhagen blue, and I'm using bright red. This particular red is very, very thin, And I know that just from the other paintings I've done using this red, it's very, very watery. It's not always like that. I don't know if all bright reds are like that, but again, dollar store. What you know, what can we do? Okay, so that's how much I've put on like my red and my blue. Okay, and then I'm just gonna start by just like mixing them, like bringing them in the center, and then just starting to mix it to get kind of a purple color that I like. Okay, and just play with it until you get a purple that you are digging. And you may want to lighten it up a little bit. Or not. I don't know if I'm going to lighten it up, actually. I might kind of stick with that. So it's really up to you, again, what color you want to go with. You might, if you like it a bit, like, again, if you put more blue into it, it's going to have cooler kind of tones because the blue brings that out. If you put more red into it, it will have a bit warmer tones. So it's really up to you how you want it, how you want to vibe it. I think I'm going to stick like that. That's a bit darker than what we said. I'm going to maybe put a little bit of white in here. Let's see what happens. White can be pretty powerful, so it can make it very bright very quickly. But I think, let's get some more blue. Yeah, so just mix until you're happy with the color. And I kind of like to, I don't know, I'll put it on, then I might even put another coat right on top. We'll see how that goes. All right, so I'm going to get my purple, my background here, and I'm going to start putting that in. Again, I'm going to try to get the top of my canvas and the sides. And again, I don't know if you can already see, maybe not yet, but this red, again, is making this very watery, as opposed to the yellow, which was a lot thicker and had a lot nicer coverage. It's okay if we do that. That's not a big deal. We'll paint over that. If you glob it on like I do, it's okay. We can fix it. We can fix anything that we do on here. That's the great thing about acrylic. Okay. So right now it's looking pretty messy, but this is because the paint's very thin. So for me, I'm definitely going to want 2 coats. And for you, just judge how it's going on, and you can decide if you need a second coat as well. And I want this to be a little bluer. I'm going to put a bit more blue in here. I also have a tendency, anyone who hasn't joined me before, to kind of mix and change things up as I go. And I do encourage you to do the same thing, because that really just makes it more fun and makes it more personal. And if you're not having fun, then what's the point? Come on. No, there's lots of points. I guess you can still learn and grow, but honestly, let's just have some fun. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down. This is my base, and then I'm going to probably put another coat on top of it. So again, when we do this, make sure we do it light or thin coats. Okay, so I'm going to bring this to my yellow line. But then I'm going to bring it a bit lower than that in a moment. The majority covered here. Okay. Do need to mix a little bit more paint happening here. I do apologize for the banging that you're hearing. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this down a little bit further into my yellow for this cloud cover. And again, this is just the background, so then we can place all those clouds on top. And I just wanted to create more of a straighter line, but we were probably going to play with that a little bit anyways and make it a little bit lighter. And we'll start putting our clouds. Okay. I get nice coverage. Okay, so I'll let that sit for a moment or two while it dries a bit, because right now it's not going to let us put another coat on it yet. And like I said, I do want it to be a little bit more opaque than what we have going on. So I'm going to leave that momentarily. And I'm going to jump down, I think, into this kind of background. The water is I would say, the next thing to play with and to put in. And then we're going to end up putting in like our mountains and stuff. So I'm going to leave that for a moment. I'm going to clean off my brush again. And this water just peaks a little bit. So we don't even need that much of it, realistically. Hope all of you guys are enjoying so far. I don't see too many comments, so I'm just hoping everyone's okay. So you don't have to comment, obviously, but I just want to make sure they're coming through if you do have any questions. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that off a bit. Okay, cool. So this is kind of like a, oh my goodness, that's getting so loud. This is kind of like a gray, like silvery almost kind of vibe to it. I don't know if I want to actually put any black in it though. I think I want to stick with blue. Okay, I'm going to get a very light blue. So I'm just going to put a little bit of white into my blue, or actually the opposite, sorry. I'm adding quite a bit of white and a little bit of blue to get that vibe happening. So I've kind of created this very like icy blue. Oh, it's so hard, so shiny. There we go. You can kind of see it a little bit there. Okay, so I just try to mimic it. I think I want it to a little bit lighter than that. Like that. Okay, and so my mountain, I'm thinking, so here is one layer of kind of the mountain happening right here. And then we have the actual point there. And so my water is going to live kind of in this area here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just place where I want my water. Okay. So again, we have all those trees and everything that are going to go on in the foreground. But I do want my water, again, you can kind of see it a little bit between those branches in the front. So we're just going to create our background. We can't really see this water by the end of the painting, not all of it anyways, but it's there. So let's make sure we get a nice coverage and just do more than what you think is necessary. So cover more of the area than what you think you'll need. Okay, and it doesn't really matter how you do it. You can kind of make it a little messy. It's all good. Get a nice, yeah, so just the background. I'm going to make it a little bit, you can see the yellow a little bit too much there. So I'm just going to a little bit of white there. Maybe pop a bit. Okay, cool. And our land and stuff's going to go kind of on top of that anyway, so that's going to be more in front of it, right? Okay, awesome. And so that's all I'm going to do for my water. I'm going to leave it like that. This is still not ready for me to play with it yet, so I'm not going to go back up there yet. What I'm going to do now is I want to start placing my mountain in this background here, since my sky is not ready for me to touch yet. Yeah, I think we can do that. Okay, and so I don't know if I want this to be a little bit lighter. And when I look at it, I second guess myself a little. I do. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to put some more white on here. Make it like a touch of blue in white instead of, yeah, I think that's a little bit better. I don't know if you guys can really tell the difference too much. It's hard to see in the picture how much you can tell. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want to start putting in the mountain in the background. And the mountain in the background is, I'm going to use, again, similar to here, we're going to use 1, 2, 3 different blues to make it pop. And so this back, the first, I don't know, layer? I don't know what to call it. The furthest mountain, we're going to make in our lightest color. I'm going to switch my can't speak, my brush to a more, to my medium brush. and this one is a size 4, just to get a bit more control out of it. And you'll also, if you guys have watched my other videos, you'll know that I like to have control. A little bit of a control freak over here, which is funny because there's a lot of like uncontrollable elements, like the weird dollar store paints. But anyways, okay, so I'm gonna just mix again blue and white together, and I want it to be fairly light. Okay, and our mountain lives about in the middle, the like center in terms of if we're looking from left to right, and then just below, like at the center canyon is about there, it's a little bit below that, right? And when you look at it, it does have a couple little bumpies and grooves on it. So let's plot in our mountain. So I want it to be I can't really see behind the tree, but I'm just gonna let it go like this. Even if I don't know if that's how it is, we'll have some mistiness happening after, so it's all good. So we have Diane who's in Washington, so she can make sure it looks more accurate. Her painting will look more accurate. The rest of us who can't see it, use your imaginations. If you want to change it up and you don't want to make it look like Mount Rainier and you want to make it look like your own special mountain, go for it. There's no rules. Okay. So now I have kind of like a rocky kind of vibe, and I'm just going to bring this color. Just paint a little bit lower. Paint lower than you want the color to live. Because then we're going to, after, go in and we're going to use slightly darker blue to do the next layer. And again, I feel like it's drying a little bit darker than I want, so I'm just going to add white right on top of it and just mix it in. And that purple is almost dry enough for me to go back to it in a little bit, which I will probably do before we do another layer of this mountain range. So that's perfect timing, I think. I'm just making it a little bit brighter with this blue, white paint on top of my blue. Okay, so that's where I want it to go more or less. Got that going. I still see a little bit of white poke, what am I saying? Sorry. A little yellow poking through, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to put a little bit more paint in those areas, and I might need to let it dry a little bit before I continue because I might just keep pulling it up and you can see that too much. We don't want that. Okay. So I got the first layer of mountain going on. All right, let's go back up. And I want to put another coat on my sky before we do all the clouds. So let's do that now. Okay, and now I'm looking at it. I do want it to be a bit more blue than what I did initially. So on the second layer, I'm going to make it a little bit more with a blue instead of a bit more red. Okay, so I'm just going to put another coat on top of this. And again, use your judgment. You may not think that yours needs, maybe your red and blue from the dollar store is a lot more substantial than mine in that you don't need to do this, and you don't have to. So I just like to have a nice fully covered canvas before I play with all the clouds and stuff that I want to put on here. Yeah, so I'm liking that already a lot better. And for anyone who's new to acrylics, it's the first time painting with me or haven't painted in a while, or you're kind of new to it, I want you to remember, or want you to know that at this point of the painting process, when I look at the picture, I think it looks really crappy sometimes. So if you're looking at your picture and you're like, oh gosh, what am I doing? That is okay. And I find that really normal when you're using acrylics. I find it goes through a bit of like a ugly phase, I guess, before it emerges into the beautiful painting butterfly that it will eventually become. So when that happened, like especially I found, right now I feel it because it's very stark and that's not where we're going to have it. I want it to be lighter at the bottom here too, right? So I'm going to be changing that up. But I noticed that especially last week when we were doing the elephant, there's a certain point of it where I was just like, oh gosh, it looks so bad. But as you keep going, you just keep building. So hopefully that is inspiring enough for you to not feel weird if you're feeling kind of like, what is going on with this division line? That line's not going to stay there. We're going to be playing with it. Oh, I'm glad you joined, Valerie. Yay. Oh, I'm glad you had a nice States day in Minnesota. That's awesome. Yeah, it's been beautiful today here too. It actually like smells like spring, which is so wonderful. All right, so now that I jumped there just to put another coat, I'm going to leave that again. And now this already it's already a bit more dry to the touch. Perfect. So I'm going to do my next layer. So you have to look kind of real close, but there is a slight change in color to the mountain here, and it's a little bit slightly darker blue. And then you have the darkest is in the front. Okay. So I'm going to now add a little bit more blue to what I had already created. Ooh, I went a little and then I just went a little too much. It's funny. I have no in between. I think we'll see if that works. If not, we'll make it a little bit more. Okay. And so with this layer, I think I want to bring it maybe like here. And it might follow a similar texture. It might not. Doesn't matter really. Okay. And it's okay if it goes into your water. That's fine because we were going to create kind of a new line anyways. The water was there first just so we could have something to work with. Okay. All right. So that's my next layer there. Hi, Asif. I'm so glad you're joining. Okay. And we're going to have trees and whatnot. So that's all good. Okay. Let's kind of do a nice little layer there. I don't know if I made that a little too dark. I feel like I went a little too dark. Let's make that a little lighter, shall we? Put some more white and let's lighten that up a little bit. And I do want it to be a little like rocky. And I don't want the line to be super straight or anything, so. Okay, there we go. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Cool. I might have to do a little touch up. I still see a bit of the yellow. The yellow is like strong. So don't want that to stick out too much. I might have to touch it up a little bit later. But that, we can cross that bridge when we get there. All right. And I think I might already start putting in the darkest layer in the front. So how dark do we want to go there? I do want it to be pretty dark. So let's try that and see. Okay, so this layer, so I think we're going to bring this down. So we're going to have, this is where our horizon is going to be, more or less. Kind of can only see it like that, but it's going to be behind there anyways. Okay, and then we're going to make a third layer here. All right. And again, I want it to be a little like rough and tumble. So I don't want a super straight line. I want it to have like, okay, there we go. Maybe it kind of cuts off that one a little bit. Okay. I'll just bring that because we're going to have trees anyways. All right, so we got like 3 layers happening to give it a really cool mountain vibe. And again, I'm questioning whether that's a little too dark too. But that's all right. We can always lighten it up if we want to. And that is exactly what I'm going to do. All right, yeah, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so we have some mountain layers happening. Fantastic. Okay, cool. And it looks like there's just kind of like misty, cloudy kind of stuff happening there behind. I don't know if I want to do that yet. I think I'm going to wait for now. I think we're going to bounce back up to our sky, and we're going to start playing with some of the clouds up here. It looks like I'm dry enough to start. Yeah, I would say so. Okay, so all the clouds here are a very like light pink, and they kind of fade into a bit of like a darker tint to kind of blend into this like purple sky that we have happening. I also have, again, mine's significantly darker than what we have here, but we're gonna go with it. We'll see how it all rolls out, see how we like it. All right, so how do we get pink? Well, you need, for this type of pink, we need a little bit of red and quite a bit of white. And you might also potentially want to put in maybe a little bit of yellow, depending on how bright that pink is. You might want to just dull it out a little bit. Okay, I think that will work. Let's try this. I have kind of like this pink. And again, if it's a painting, we can always change it up and it can be like super bright if we want it. It's all good. Okay, so you can start wherever you want. So when you look at the clouds, there's like, they're kind of very like, sort of like lines and then like some bumps. So there's like little momentums of them, I suppose. So we're just going to start, I don't know, let's just start here. So I'm just going to kind of put a line in, and then I'm just going to just put a little bit of movement in there. Okay, and I'm going to put another line in here. Okay, and then we're going to put in like a lot of layers in here. So I'm just going to kind of play with this. And then here, I'm going to kind of start mixing in this lane. I'm just kind of dabbing a bit and just want to mess up this line that I initially created. I definitely want to do that. So I don't want it to be this straight separation, but we do want a pretty straight separation, obviously. because we can see that there's a nice clear division between this cloud cover and the bright yellow. So I'm going to do that just to start this here. But I don't want it to be super straight, so I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit, make go up and down. Okay, and then we're going to do the same on this side. Okay. Not sure if you heard that, but that was my son laughing hysterically in the background. He's in the other bedroom. So we're getting our heater replaced. So normally my son likes to watch TV in the basement, but because there's stuff going on down there, he's regulated to our bedroom to watch TV. So he got really into this new show. I think well, it's not new, it's actually quite old, I think, but new to him. And he's been laughing hysterically, like super loudly. It's very cute. Okay, I'm just bringing in like this kind of cloudy thing happening over here, but I want it to be a little lighter, so I'm just putting a little bit more white in it. It's a little bit too pink, but I also want there to be like a little bit of blue. We'll see. That kind of weirds it out. We'll see. If it does, we'll just paint over it. It's all good. Just play, and it's okay if things aren't 100%. They shouldn't be. It should be kind of funky and different and fun. Okay, so let's go back over here. Okay. I'm gonna put in, I think I want to put in a little bit more white happening. Some of the white's getting pretty dry. Okay, so I'm just going to put in a little bit more white on top of what this line I created. Partially to give it a bit more dimension for the clouds, but also I can still see this very clear division from what I initially painted, and I don't want to see it. So we're going to just put that right on top there. Okay. Hi, Tori. Thanks so much for sending me some stars. You're so sweet. I miss you. I'm just kind of going back on top of some of the pink that I just did, and just putting a little bit of white just to make it a little bit more robust or something. I don't know. I'm not sure the right word. A little bit of blue in here. Okay, so let's go and get some more of that pink happening. Okay. Let's just keep putting a little bit. I think it's a little bit too bright. Too much brightness. It's okay. You know what? We'll make it work. We can add some more white to it after. Okay. So I'm using kind of the side of my brush to kind of get some cloud shapes happening. And again, it's not going to look exactly like the painting or the photo. I'm going to do my own interpretation of it just to get like a lot of cloud vibe happening in here. Little lines. Streaky little clouds. I might even need my thin brush to do some of these actually. Yeah, that's working. A little bit white in here. Putting some white on top of it in some areas. I don't know about this blue here anymore. I'm not sure. Go over that a little bit. Okay, dokes. So it's definitely a lot brighter than against the darker sky that I created. Not sure if I like that too much, to be honest. I don't know yet. We'll just keep going and then we'll see what happens. We want some that are going to sweep kind of downwards. We'll see. Just keep going and see how it happens. Right. I'm definitely going a bit off book. Play with some of these clouds. Okay, let's see. Get a little bit more of that into it. I'm just getting a little bit of like a trying to get like a darker purple, but lighter than this, but it's still very light. Okay, let's try that. Create some darker clouds further. We're gonna add some I think that's a little better. Okay, a little bit of white on some of them. Okay. Some more of these lighter purpley ones. You want some of them to kind of go off your canvas too. The sky doesn't just, it's not just in these walls, right? It's all continues off of it. So let's do a little bit like that too. All right. Got some nice clouds going on. Very different vibe, I have to say. Definitely went a little too dark, I think, on my sky. I'm digging it. I'm digging the vibe. Okay. Let's see. You know what? Actually, I want to get a thinner brush. This isn't giving some of the lines I want to use. I'll try this one and see. Okay. It's a little thinner. Probably a round brush might be a little bit easier to get some smoother lines. I'm finding I want to get some of the clouds to not have like little, basically like the ends of my brush. I want to make it a little bit like straighter. Clean up some of them because I feel like they look a little bit odd. Ooh, come back. That's just what I'm going to do here. Okay. Okay. I'm just, like I said, cleaning up a little bit of the lines from my last brush because it just made my clouds, I feel like, a little hairy, and I didn't really want them to look like that. So I'm just going around and just touching that up a little bit. No, that's much, much better, because I was not digging the way that was looking. Okay. All right. Hey, Nicole. Oh, thank you. I'm glad the nature sounds are sounding all right. I need to have some kind of sound happening. Sometimes I go like too quiet when I'm painting, so I was like, okay, what can I use that won't be taken off because of copyright infringements? Okay. Maybe nature sounds. Let's try that. And so far, so good. Well, we'll see, actually. I won't actually know until I post it. A little bit more. I think I went way too light with these clouds. And darken some of them and see if I like them more. I think I do actually. I think I will try and darken some of these ones in the back. Yeah, I think having them a little darker makes more sense. Okay. This is a weird transition over here, I think. That's a little better. Okay. I definitely want to play more with these clouds. I'm not liking them just yet, like fully just yet. I think I need to still darken some of these up. I went a little too light, and that's not the vibe that is working. I should have made these a little darker. darkening them up actually makes a lot more sense in my head. So my apologies that I'm just doing this. I should have just done that initially, but you know, that's how it goes. I want it a little lighter on that side, maybe. Yeah, I think that is better. It kind of goes from a darker and it gets a little bit lighter. And I do like the flow of that a bit more. So I'm going to leave that for now. Cool. And then I want to go and put in some of this like misty background here. So we have some cloud coverage that's kind of this like grayish vibe. So, but it's kind of gray blue. So I'm going to get some of that bluish, almost the same color as like that far mountain there. And I'm going to get quite a bit of water kind of happening. And then I'm just going to start putting a little bit this mistiness happening here. I'm going to use the water to help spread it, to dilute it, and to give it this more misty vibe. Dirty up my sky a little bit with this mist. Kind of has a misty to it. So there's maybe a little bit kind of on this side too. We'll just add a little bit in. A little bit happening. All right. Put some more just to dull it out a little bit. Okay. There we go. I like that. That is looking pretty cool. All right. So now I want to start putting in some of my trees that are in the background. So it looks like there's a bit of like a line of some of these trees happening. So we're going to start putting some of those in. I think I want to go with like a green, like a dark green, or I want to go straight black. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to put black on my palette because I definitely want black to be happening. But I don't know if I want to do green as well. I'm going to put a bit of some blue and yellow, mix it to get some green, or if you have pre-mixed green, that can work too. Whatever works. I think I want to get like I kind of want to bring out more color, I think. I don't know if I want to just go straight black. Or maybe I'll start straight black in the back and then I'll come out forward, and yeah, maybe I'll do that way. I'm going back and forth, I'm not sure. No, I think I'm going to go with the darker green. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a very dark green. That's what I'm going to do. Almost black, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, cool. So let's put a tree here. So I'm just gonna go like this. And this guy, bring the branches up, kind of like being like, yay, like kind of like a Y kind of shape. And as I go down, just making it fatter. Okay. Got one. Maybe this is gonna poke up a little bit more. Yeah. Maybe like that. Why not? We're gonna have another one like here. I'm gonna get the tops kind of going. And we're gonna have lots of things kind of covering in the front. Okay. With another kind of more forefront one like here. And bring down kind of where it's gonna live. And that has kind of like a weird stem that kind of goes up. I'm just going to bring it down. Cool. Awesome. I'm just going to keep putting in some more foliage. More here. And it's just going to be kind of like, give the vibe of different tips of trees. Can't really see that much detailing. Some of them obviously we can, but some of them we cannot. So we're just going to kind of get that feeling happening. Just bring that down a little bit. Okay. And then we have like that tree. There's another one like kind of beside it here. That one looks very evergreen-like. Very like an arrow almost. We still want it to have some life, so we don't want it to be like super straight or anything. It's gonna have a little bit of a vibe to it. Okay. We have another one. It's like here. I'm just going to use the side of my brush, and I'm just going to go back and forth and just make it a little bit wider at the bottom, but maybe not fully. There we go. Okay, so we have another kind of tree. So we're just going to place some trees in a couple different spots, and we're going to keep building things to the foreground as we go, right? And I also noticed too, there's like some more like foliage and stuff happening back here. Just gonna put in a little bit more darkness like that. Oh, the knocking around is kind of bugging me. Okay. Okay, and then of course we have the nice big old tree in the front here. So let's pop that guy in here. Okay, so this one comes down about like that, more or less. And we do the same kind of vibe, a kind of more sparse, go back and forth, sparse. And they kind of come down, make them a little droopy. They can go up a little bit sometimes. Get a little thicker near the actual trunk. So more leaves, more thickness here. And then we'll come out and be a little bit funky on either side, like that. That guy's super fun to paint. Just trying to keep it in like a dark green happening. So again, in here we want it to be thicker, so go a little bit crazy, slop it on a little bit more in the middle, and then as you come out, it gets a bit thinner, but closer to the trunk, you still want it to have some nice thickness to it and weight. As you get out to the tip, it gets thinner. Okay. Okay, so there's a nice pretty tree right there. Oh, thank you, Linda. I'm glad you're joining from New York. It's awesome. Oh, I'm glad you're finding it relaxing, Jackie. That's great. Good, that's what I want to hear. I hope you're all enjoying it, having fun, and creating your own versions of this and having fun with it. Again, like honestly, I'm not super fan of my sky. Personally, I went too dark on the background. I should have went a bit lighter, and I probably should have played with it a little bit when it was still a little wet. I think that would have made the cloud blending a little bit nicer. So I might go back in there afterwards, but you know what? Let's just have fun with the foreground, and then I'll play with that afterwards. All right, so we have some like kind of brush happening, and there's some like hills and whatnot, and then some more trees poking around. So I think what I want to do is I want to get more of a green going, and I want to just create a bit of a, there's some like grass happening in the front. So I'm just going to create a bit of a green land mass around somewhere. It's not the brush to use. This is a thin brush. It's my tree brush. Okay. All right, brush, you take a break. Let me get something a little bit thicker to play with and get more coverage happening here. I'm just going to create a little bit of a grassy knoll. Get some green coverage here. A little too watery. That's all right. I'm going to cover it up in a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go back. Let's put in some more trees happening. Okay, so go back on my thinner brush, and I just want to create some more like foliage and stuff.
I'm just gonna bring my brush kind of this way and that way, just to give it kind of like this bunch of stuff happening. Okay, I think I want to put some more trees happening here. I'm gonna go another one here. I think I just want that to be background coverage actually. I need to still cover this background a bit more with green before I put anything else on here. Yeah, we do. There we go. Let's keep just putting some green background before I put any more trees in, shall we? Kind of landmass that lives here. I think we're going to create like another like land here. There we are. There we go. All right, so it's going to create some, looks like there's just like more brush, more background happening here. I'll go back and forth a bit just to make it, and then I think I'm going to put some trees afterwards and play with that a bit. So I'm just going to cover the rest of my canvas just so I have some kind of green base. Then I will put some more definition on. For now, it's just like this misty green base. Covering this up a little bit to make it a little more opaque because it was very thin, almost watered down when I initially painted this little hill thing. Okay, so now we have kind of a foreground, very messy, but it has a cool vibe to it. And I want to go and I want to do some more trees. Add even more to it. Why not? So I'm gonna go with my black, I think. Let's put another tree like here. Maybe this one's going to be, there we go, again. A little thicker in the middle. Okay. And I think I want to put another one like here. I'm gonna go off the page. Cool. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's definitely giving it more feeling. And then there's some like, I just see some like lines and I don't know, different things happening back here. Put in a little bit. Just get the feeling of the same kind of things. Bunch of trees. Bunch of other things happen in there. Alright, cool. We have another one or two little ones. Okay. Put some more in the background, coloring things. Okay. I think I want to redefine that tree I did earlier because that didn't really turn out as nice as I wanted it to. That's better. Another one here maybe. One there. Cool. That gives it some nice vibe to it there. Alright, what else do we want to do with this? Let's see. Want more tree? I don't know, maybe. I don't know if I do want another tree actually. are some like little like brush kind of vibes happening. I kind of want to play with those a little bit. I'm a little apprehensive to do it, but we're gonna just try it. Why not, right? Little like sticky things sticking out of different areas. From the front, maybe even. Some longer brushes happening here or something, I don't know. But I'm kind of digging that vibe. Get some of that green too. Layer that up a little bit with some green with this yellow. I'm just going a little bit darker as I get further away from that light source. You can't really see it so much on the other sides, but I think that's working nicely. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see the texture a little bit better there. If you see the tree, you have some nice like texture in all the trees in the background. Some of the trees still look a little like blah, like you need a bit more substance. I think I want to put another layer on it. Like I can kind of see through it on areas where we're not supposed to see through it. So I'm just going to touch that up a little bit. And just maybe just make it a little bit darker. Down middle, and then just darken some of these strokes up too. Just touching with like a bit of a lighter green on some of the darker areas just to give it a little bit more dimension, have a little bit more color play with it. That looks cool. Cool. All right. Well, I think feel pretty happy with it. So, like I said, I'm still not super sold on my clouds. I'm not super happy about them. I think I probably would like to lighten it up a bit in the background. I just don't know how easy that would be at this point. I feel like I might have to kind of redo it fully to get what I would prefer to have. Part of me wants to try it, and part of me is like, don't touch it. Let's see, I'm gonna play a little bit and see if I can get it a little bit different than what I want. Let me see what I can do. Let's play a little bit. I don't know if I can almost do like a wash, if that would almost work, or if that would make it look worse. You know what? I'm gonna try. Let's see. Again, I'll do this weirdness, and then if it turns out horribly, it's okay, because you don't have to take this risk like I am. What I'm doing is I'm basically getting like my blue, and I'm watering it down quite a bit, and I'm just kind of like washing over what I already painted. And we're gonna see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. It might turn out really crappy. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna try. I'm just gonna play a little bit and see what happens. Worst case, I can paint over it and redo it. I do want to make it a little bit lighter, and I don't really like what I did initially. Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a totally different sky when I'm done. I'm pretty sure. Oh man. And more blue. Okay, let's keep going and see what happens. So yeah, so I think I am just going right over it and changing it entirely, because I'm digging this kind of streakiness happening, even though it's not at all what I did before, but I kind of am liking it. So we'll see what happens. And again, you don't have to do this, you can keep it as is. I think I'm just going to play with it, because I really don't like the way the sky was. I feel like it was just a little too dark, and it wasn't doing justice to the original, and I feel like this is kind of giving it more of a cloud kind of streaky vibe, but we'll see. I'm not done yet, so hopefully it turns out the way I'm starting to see it kind of come together, but I don't know. But we shall see. Yeah. I think I'm liking that way more. went away. Well, I'll have to get it in a moment. Into my weird, change up from the sky. I'm just getting like little bits of red and some white, and then I'm getting water, and I'm kind of just like blending it, but still keeping a lot of the, making it a little bit lighter at the bottom here, and trying to still make it pretty smooth. Oh, don't wet my canvas. There we go. Too much water, it can drip, because water will drip. Totally change that. Okay, well, that's what happened. I decided to go completely rogue. Oh my. There we go. That's what happens when we have wires and everything. Okay, let me just get my iPad back with the image. So we have that still here. There we go, guys. Thanks, everyone. I'm glad you like it. I think I like that more. So I know it's not the same cloud vibe, but I think it is still capturing it. I like it more. I'm going to just get rid of some of the cloud lines even more so and just make it more streaky. Totally different vibe. I did. I kind of went back to my comfort zone. But I think I did that way more. All right, well. I'm laughing at myself because this is totally different. What am I applying to the sky? It's a very good question, Susan. So I'm going right over it because I really didn't like the way my clouds look. And I kind of just went a little rogue and I put in, I used water to kind of blend it out, kind of start it off. And then I just put blue, and I've been mixing blue and red and white and keeping darker colors at the top and just kind of making it lighter at the bottom, and I'm going completely different than the original image to play with it because I did not really like my sky. So I changed it entirely, and you can do that if you want, but you don't have to. I'm just going to add a little bit more motion now. So I'm just going to, instead of having streaky, I'm going to just put in a little bit of, maybe like it'll feel more a little bit like clouds. We'll see if it does or not. I got a little inspired. What can I say? Must be the brighter daylight for longer and hearing these little birds chirp. Okay, so now for my streakiness, I'm just going to add a little bit of like more blotchy, kind of have a feel a bit more like clouds. Okay, I'm gonna make that a little darker. So I feel like the streakiness took away a little bit of the vibe of the clouds. Now I'm just gonna put in, make it a little bit like rounded kind ofness. All right, I went totally rogue. That's what I did to my sky. I went a little bit crazy. I like it way better, and I stand by my decision. If you like it, cool. If you don't, it's okay. You can stick with the way the clouds looked before, obviously. So you can see what I've done, and if you like it, try it out. Like I said, I kind of just went a little bit crazy, and I just put some streaks in, and I just kept building and building from there. So I just want to make it a little bit more, be more like rounded edges into some areas. Oh, that's so dry already up here. Alright, well, I think I like that one more. I'm much happier with that. Yep, I think that's where I might leave it for today. I think. Alright. I'll have to wash these out properly afterwards. There's so much paint that gets inside. So you want to make sure that you're properly rinsing them and cleaning them fully, because a lot of paint can get in the actual base here, and that it's not so great. All right, so there we go. My version of Mount Rainier. I'll put that back up here momentarily. All right, so yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed that paint party. I liked it quite a bit. It definitely challenged me, since I really did not like my clouds at first go, and then I kind of just went completely rogue. So I hope some of you found that useful to know that you can kind of just do whatever you want. And acrylic paint is really great because once it dries, you can paint right over it and change it up entirely, or you can make great edits on it, and it's fantastic for that. So I strongly recommend trying it and having fun and not being restricted by what the image is showing or what you think it might show, and kind of trusting outside the box to capture a same kind of vibe. So I feel really happy about it, and I like how I started very streaky, and then I added some more little like fluffier elements, which made it more like cloud-like. And then the whole bottom here was really great too, because
again, it was just like lots of different foliage, so you can have lots of fun with that too. So I hope you all enjoy that. It went a little, actually no, it's still under the 2 hour mark, which is fantastic, which is good. So anyone who painted along, please snap a picture of it and share it on the Lisa's Painting Party website. Webpage. I don't have a website yet. So just yeah, do that because I'd love to see it and check it out. If you missed this or you're just checking it out now, you can rewatch this on Lisa's Painting Parties on YouTube, or you can watch it on the videos tab on the Facebook page as well. So feel free to do that. And every Wednesday, I will be hosting a free live painting session. And again, it'll be similar to this, where the image will be the one that's the chosen by voting every week, and the one with the most votes will be the one that I paint live for you on the Wednesday. This is the first time that I paint the image, so it is my first time as well as yours, and we'll talk to each other about how we want to approach it and kind of go from there. All right? So I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week. And again, if you're interested in hosting a private party, please reach out to me and let me know. I love to do them, especially I've done a few for some Girl Scouts troops and some other kids parties, and it's been really fun. Also for adult parties as well, they're very fun too. So let me know if you're interested. And besides that, I will have 3 more options for you to vote on Saturday. So definitely check it out, vote, and the winner will be announced next Tuesday at noon, and then that's what we'll paint the week after on Wednesday. All right, have a fantastic rest of your day or night or whatever you're watching this from. Take care. Bye, everyone.